In the untamed heart of the American West during the 19th century, a fierce struggle unfolded, where Native American tribes, European settlers, and foreign powers clashed in a relentless contest for control. Blood stained the prairies and canyons as tensions flared, giving rise to legendary conflicts etched into history. The Texas Revolution of 1835 to 1836, which birthed a fledgling republic. The Battle of the Little Bighorn in 1876, where Lakota and Cheyenne warriors humbled a U.S. Army, and Red Cloud's War from 1866 to 1868, a Sioux triumph that forced American troops to abandon frontier forts. These iconic battles, steeped in heroism and tragedy, dominate the chronicles of the West. Yet beyond these storied fields of glory lie countless smaller struggles, skirmishes, raids, and betrayals, too numerous and intricate to be captured fully in the pages of modern history books. Among them, tales of courage and vengeance like the Great Raid of 1840 wait to be rediscovered, offering a vivid glimpse into a world where survival demanded grit and retribution shaped destinies. The American frontier was a crucible of countless small-scale wars, where fleeting skirmishes and simmering grudges wove a tapestry of conflict too vast to be fully captured even in volumes spanning thousands of pages. These untold stories of ambushes in moonlit canyons, desperate stands on dusty plains, and broken promises under parley tents reveal the raw, chaotic pulse of the Wild West. To unearth these hidden dramas and illuminate their intricate causes, this narrative begins a journey through the lesser-known battles that shaped a turbulent era. Starting with a saga of vengeance and valor, the Great Raid of 1840. This cataclysmic event, born from decades of mistrust, traces its origins to the fraught relationship between the fledgling Republic of Texas and the indomitable Comanche Nation, a people whose mastery of the plains clashed with the relentless ambitions of a young republic. In the spring of 1840, a fateful encounter in San Antonio set the stage for one of the most explosive clashes in the annals of the Texas frontier. On March 19, 1933, Comanche chiefs, adorned in ceremonial garb and bearing the weight of their people's hopes, rode into the bustling heart of the Republic of Texas, a young nation still carving its identity apart from Mexico and the United States. They came to the council house, a modest adobe structure, for a peace parley meant to quell the bloodshed between Comanche warriors and Texian settlers. The terms seemed simple, an exchange of captives, Texian hostages, for a halt to raids that had plagued the frontier. Yet what unfolded was no olive branch but a spark that ignited vengeance. The Comanche leaders, representing diverse bands from the sprawling Comancheria, arrived with a single captive 16-year-old, Matilda Lockhart, her face marked by the hardships of captivity. They explained that other hostages remained with distant kin, promising their return once trust was secured through further trades. But the Texian officials, led by figures like Colonel William S. Fisher, harbored no patience for such assurances. Suspicion hung heavy in the air, fueled by years of mutual distrust. Instead of honoring their pledge to produce captives of their own, the Texians sprang a trap. With a signal, soldiers surrounded the council house, seizing all 33 chiefs and 32 family members, men, women, and children, in a stunning act of betrayal. The Comanche, caught off guard, yet fierce in their resolve, refused to yield quietly. Words turned to shouts, and in the chaos, a single arrow flew, striking at a Texian soldier poised with a loaded musket. The room erupted into violence. When the smoke cleared, the toll was grim: 35. Comanche lay dead among them, 2 women and 3 children, their blood staining the floor of a place meant for peace. 7 Texians perished a lighter cost for their treachery. The surviving 29 Comanche, shackled and grieving, were dragged to confinement, their cries echoing through San Antonio streets. By dawn the next day, a lone Comanche woman released as a messenger rode back to her people's camps on the Llano Estacado. Her words carried the bitter truth: the council house had become a slaughterhouse, claiming 35 lives. And the Texians demanded the release of their captives before freeing the imprisoned Comanche. The news struck like a thunderbolt. Enraged by this duplicity, Comanche warriors gathered, their hearts burning with fury. They returned to San Antonio seeking justice, but found the Texians unwilling to face them, hiding behind a hastily declared 12-day truce. For the Comanche, this was no olive branch, but another ruse. In a defiant act of retribution, they executed the 16 Texian captives still in their hands, a grim testament to their belief that Texas could not be trusted. The Council House fight, far from forging peace, had sown the seeds of a war that would shake the frontier to its core. In the wake of the Council House massacre, a storm of outrage swept through the Comanche heartlands. Carrying the bitter tidings of betrayal to Buffalo Hump, the revered war chief of the Penatuka Band. To him, the slaughter of 35 kinsmen in San Antonio on March 19, 1840, was no mere clash, but a deliberate act of treachery by the Republic of Texas, a final insult that shattered any lingering hope of coexistence. For years, the Penatuka had endured broken promises and encroaching settlers. Now their patience had burned to ash. Driven by a fierce resolve to restore honor, Buffalo Hump set forth across the sun-scorched plains of Comanche, his horse's hooves pounding a path through camps scattered from the Colorado River to the Rio Grande. In smoky council fires, he met with Yellow Wolf, the cunning second war chief, and Santa Anna, the steadfast third, both seasoned leaders of the Penatuka. Beneath starlit skies, the three forged a pact of vengeance, their voices rising with the conviction that Texas must answer for its deceit. Buffalo Hump, his eyes alight with purpose, proposed a daring plan, a massive raid to strike the heart of Texian settlements, from the bustling streets of San Antonio to the quiet farms near Bastrop. This would be no fleeting skirmish, but a thunderous declaration of Comanche power, a reckoning to sear their defiance into the memory of those who dared to wrong them. By July 1840, their vision took shape. Over 400 warriors, their faces painted with the symbols of war, rallied to the cause. Joined by some 500 women and young boys tasked with tending camps and sustaining the campaign. This was no ordinary war party, but a coalition of extraordinary breath-drawing fighters from the Yamparica Cotzoteca and other Comanche bands alongside kin from family clans across the plains. Each warrior carried the weight of shared grief and unyielding pride united under Buffalo Hump's banner to reclaim their dignity and strike fear into the Republic. As they sharpened their lances and readied their swift ponies, the Comanche prepared to unleash a tempest upon Texas, one that would echo through history as the Great Raid of 1840. From the boundless prairies of West Texas, where the wind whispered tales of vengeance, Buffalo Hump led his formidable war party eastward, their ponies kicking up clouds of dust beneath a relentless summer sun. It was early summer 1840, and the Comanche, united under the iron will of Buffalo Hump Yellow Wolf and Santa Anna, set their sights on the heart of the Republic of Texas, a land teeming with settlements blissfully unaware of the storm gathering on their horizon. For weeks they traversed the rugged trails of Comanche, crossing the Brazos River and threading through oak-dotted hills, their numbers swelling with the shared resolve of a people wronged. By August 6, after 1840, this tide of retribution reached the outskirts of Victoria, a fledgling town nestled along the Guadalupe River. Founded in 1824 to honor Guadalupe Victoria, Mexico's first president. The settlement was barely 16 years old, its adobe homes and dusty streets home to a few hundred souls. In the sweltering August heat, Victoria's residents went about their daily lives, farmers tending crops, merchants bartering goods oblivious to the shadow of Comanche lances looming just beyond the horizon. Unprepared and unguarded, the town stood as a fragile outpost in a land still contested, its youth and isolation making it a perfect target for the wrath of a nation determined to make its mark. In the sultry haze of August 1840, Victoria slumbered under the weight of summer's heat, its few hundred residents tending to daily routines with no inkling of the peril galloping toward them. Founded just 16 years prior, this modest settlement along the Guadalupe River housed farmers, merchants, and families, their adobe homes and wooden storefronts standing unguarded against the vast Texas frontier. But on the night of August 6th, the Comanche, driven by the sting of betrayal from San Antonio's council house, shattered that fragile peace with a swift and merciless strike. Unbeknownst to victorious townsfolk, a handful of Texas Rangers had glimpsed the shadow of danger days earlier. Patrolling the open plains of central Texas, they spotted a formidable Comanche war party, hundreds strong, carving a path toward the Republic's vulnerable settlements. Wary of revealing their presence, the Rangers shadowed the raiders, hoping to warn towns in their path. But the Comanche masters of strategy outmaneuvered them. Splitting their force with calculated precision, they left women and children at a hidden camp near the Lavaca River, while a lean contingent of several hundred mounted warriors, their lances gleaming under the moon, thundered toward Victoria. As dusk fell, the town lay defenseless, its streets quiet, save for the chirping of crickets. Then, in a heartbeat, chaos erupted. Comanche hooves pounded through Victoria's heart, their war cries piercing the night. Residents scrambled in terror, bolting doors and barricading windows as the raiders swept through. Within minutes, the streets ran red. 12 souls, men and women caught in the open, fell to Comanche blades and arrows. Yet the tide turned as desperate defenders perched in the upper stories of homes and shops unleashed a hail of rifle fire. The crack of muskets echoed off adobe walls, forcing the warriors to regroup. Sensing resistance, the Comanche withdrew as swiftly as they had come, vanishing into the darkness, their hooves fading like a receding storm. When dawn broke, Victoria stood battered, but intact, its core spared the torch. The raid's toll, 12 lives lost, was a grim testament to the Comanche's wrath. Yet the town escaped the total devastation that might have been. Unbeknownst to its people, the warriors had struck Victoria as an afterthought, their true aim fixed on the richer coastal ports where horses and goods lay ripe for plunder. The Rangers, delayed by the Comanche's cunning split, arrived too late to sound the alarm. Had they reached Victoria in time, or had the raiders kept to their planned coastal path? The night's bloodshed might have been a mere whisper instead of a scream. But for now the Comanche rode on their resolve, unbroken, leaving Victoria to mourn and brace for what lay ahead. As twilight draped the plains on August 6, 1840, Buffalo Hump and his Comanche warriors paused their relentless march, settling into a concealed camp along the banks of Spring Creek, just beyond the smoldering echoes of Victoria's ordeal. With the stars as their canopy, they sharpened their lances and steeled their resolve. Their gazes fixed southeast toward Linnville, a bustling port on Lavaca Bay that shimmered with promise of plunder. This coastal prize, rich with goods and unguarded wealth, lay firmly within their grasp, its fate sealed by the Comanche's unyielding hunger for retribution. At dawn on August 7th, the war party broke camp and pressed forward. Their ponies' hooves muffled by the soft earth as they traced a path to Placido Creek near the modern hamlet of Placido. Here, in the shadow of sprawling oaks, they claimed a secluded tract once owned by Placido Benavides, a Tejano rancher whose name lingered in the land's memory. Only 12 miles separated them from Linnville, a mere breath in the vastness of Texas. Yet the town's residents slumbered in blissful ignorance, their lives untouched by whispers of the approaching tempest. The Texas Rangers, still trailing far behind their boots, heavy with the dust of miscalculation, could offer no warning. As the Comanche kindled their fires under the cover of night, Linnville lay open, defenseless, poised on the edge of a reckoning that would etch its name into the annals of the frontier. Before dawn on August 8, 1840, the Comanche war party, their silhouettes stark against the fading stars, encircled Linnville with chilling precision, sealing the fate of Texas's second-largest port. Buffalo Hump, his heart ablaze with the memory of San Antonio's treachery, led hundreds of warriors in a silent vow. This coastal hub on Lavaca Bay would pay for the blood spilled in the council house. Linnville's bustling warehouses, brimming with goods from New Orleans, stood no chance against the fury of a people scorned. As the first rays of sunlight touched the horizon, the raiders struck their war cries, shattering the morning's calm. Like a tempest unleashed, the Comanche swept through Linnville's heart, looting storefronts laden with silks and spices before turning to homes where terrified families fled in vain. The air grew thick with smoke as flames devoured wooden roofs, and the streets echoed with the clatter of plunder. Fine linens, top hats, and silverware dragged through the dust by triumphant warriors. Yet amid the chaos, a flicker of defiance emerged. A handful of residents, knowing their rifles were no match for Comanche lances, devised a desperate plan. Recalling the raiders' roots as Plains Indians unversed in naval combat, they urged their neighbors toward the safety of Lavaca Bay, where fishing boats and a sturdy schooner bobbed beyond reach. Under the command of Captain William G. Marshall, the schooner became a floating sanctuary, its deck crowded with trembling townsfolk. From their watery refuge they watched helplessly as Linnville burned its skyline, swallowed by flames. The Comanche, undeterred, paraded their spoils, bedding tied to ponies, settlers' hats, perched mockingly on their heads while the town crumbled. Miraculously, only 3 lives were lost in the onslaught. Among them was Hugh Watts, the port's customs officer, who lingered too long to retrieve a cherished gold watch, only to fall beneath a Comanche blade. His bride, newlywed, was torn from his side, her fate sealed in the chaos. Another judge, John Hayes, narrowly escaped death. Driven by anguish, he charged the shore with an empty pistol. His shout so wild that the warriors, bemused by his frenzy, spared him, mistaking rage for madness. By noon, the Comanche had stripped Linnville bare, their ponies laden with treasures valued at $300,000 a fortune of cotton tobacco, and tools bound for Austin now lost to fire or theft. The port's core lay in ashes, its docks and warehouses reduced to charred ruins. With their mission complete, the raiders vanished into the prairie, leaving behind a ghost town and a people adrift. From their boats, Linnville survivors gazed upon the wreckage of their dreams, the smoldering heaps, a stark testament to the Comanche's wrath and the fragility of Texas's frontier ambitions. In the smoldering aftermath of Linnville's ruin, the Comanche war party vanished into the Texas wilderness, their ponies and mules, groaning under the weight of plunder, seized from 2 devastated towns. For 3 days after August 8, 1840, they carved out a hidden camp amid the thickets and ravines near Lavaca Bay, a sanctuary to regroup and reckon with their spoils. Under Buffalo Hump's watchful eye, warriors sorted through a fortune in goods, bolts of silk, barrels of tobacco, and crates of tools looted from Victoria and Linnville's shattered warehouses. Yet amid this triumph a shadow loomed. The very riches that crowned their vengeance now threatened to unravel their strength. The heart of their trouble lay in the plodding mules, sturdy but sluggish beasts, laden with the heavy bounty of their raids. For a people whose power sprang from lightning-fast strikes galloping across the plains to outpace any foe, this was a bitter twist. Where once they would have melted into the horizon, leaving pursuers choking on dust, the Comanche now trudged at a deliberate pace, their every step weighed down by the spoils of war. Barrels and bundles slowed their retreat, forcing a cautious march that traded speed for vigilance, a stark departure from the fluid tactics that had made them lords of Comancheria. This unforeseen burden became a beacon for the Texas Rangers, who doggedly trailed the raiders' path. The Republic of Texas, reeling from the loss of its coastal jewel, found a glimmer of hope in the Comanche's encumbered flight. Each labored mile gave the Rangers time to muster their forces, sharpen their blades, and close the gap, turning the hunter's advantage into an opportunity for retribution. As the Comanche paused to master their plunder, the plains whispered of a reckoning yet to come, one that would test their resolve on the blood-soaked fields ahead. The ashes of Linnville still hung heavy in the August air, yet the Texas Rangers, daunted by the Comanche's formidable numbers, held back from striking the raiders who had ravaged the Republic's coast. Their war party, swollen with over 900 souls, loomed too vast for a hasty assault. But time, as it turned out, was no ally to the victors of Victoria and Linnville. Encumbered by their plunder, the Comanche's swift hooves faltered, granting the Rangers a fleeting chance to rally. With every passing hour they forged a stronger line, their resolve hardened by the smoldering ruins left in the raiders' wake. In the frantic hours after Linnville's fall on August 8, 1840, Matthew Caldwell, a grizzled frontiersman known as Old Paint, and Edward Burleson, a battle-scarred veteran of San Jacinto, sounded the call to arms. From the rolling hills of East Texas to the oak groves of its heartland, every ranger company answered. Joined by a tide of volunteers, Farmers, shopkeepers, and former soldiers, each clutching a rifle and burning to avenge their shattered settlements. This makeshift army, bound by grit and fury, tracked the Comanche's trail, their eyes fixed on the horizon where dust clouds betrayed the raiders' burdened march. On August 12th, beneath a blistering sun, the pursuit reached its climax along the banks of Plum Creek, a quiet stream some 25 miles south of Austin near the future town of Lockhart. The first rifle cracked across the prairie, igniting a whirlwind of violence. The clash erupted into a relentless chase, bullets and arrows slicing through the air as both sides galloped across the open plain. The Comanche, keenly aware of their sluggish mules, saw doom in the Rangers' charge. With no time to stand and fight, they wheeled southwest, desperate to reach the rugged sanctuary of the Llano Estacado, deep in Comanche's embrace. To lighten their load, they cut loose scores of mules, leaving trails of scattered goods, sacks of flour, shattered mirrors, and bottles of whiskey strewn like relics of their fleeting triumph. When the dust settled, the Rangers stood amid a hard-won haul. Over 100 horses and mules reclaimed their flanks, heaving, alongside gleaming stacks of silver bullion plundered from Linnville's vaults. Texas boasted of a crushing blow, claiming 87 Comanche warriors felled, yet only 12 bodies lay upon the field. The rest, borne away by Buffalo Hump and his kin, likely found their final rest in Comancheria's hidden valleys, a testament to a people who honored their fallen even in retreat. For the Rangers, the day marked a bitter victory, their losses numbering 11 brave souls, a price paid to stem the tide of vengeance that had swept through Texas. The clash at Plum Creek left the Texas Rangers bloodied, but unbowed their ranks, thinned by just 11 souls, despite facing a Comanche host that outnumbered them by hundreds. Yet, as the dust settled over the prairie, the raiders under Buffalo Hump's command slipped back to the vastness of Comancheria. Their ponies laden with treasures worth over $500,000, silk, silver, and livestock, torn from the heart of Victoria and Linnville. This staggering haul of fortune in the fledgling republic's fragile economy marked a triumph that echoed across the plains. But even in victory, the Comanche knew such a daring strike could not soon be repeated. The wounds of San Antonio's betrayal still seared their spirits. Yet wisdom counseled patience, a pause to let the fires of Plum Creek fade before their next reckoning. For the Republic of Texas, reeling from the devastation of its coastal lifeline, the pursuit faltered. The Rangers, weary and pragmatic, abandoned the chase, their eyes fixed not on vengeance, but on salvage. The silver bullion, glinting remnants of Linnville's wealth became their focus, a lifeline to restore to merchants and settlers who had lost everything. Devaining the recovered spoils, they sought to mend the Republic's wounded pride, prioritizing coin over the elusive shadow of Comanche hooves retreating into the horizon. In the years that followed, Buffalo Hump and his warriors carved a relentless path, striking Texian outposts with undimmed ferocity until 1856, when the tides of conquest began to shift. The Great Raid of 1840, however, stood apart, etched into history as the mightiest assault ever launched by a Native American nation against the encroaching tide of white settlement in the United States. More than a fleeting victory, it was a resounding testament to Comanche resilience, a moment when the lords of the plains humbled a republic's ambitions. This saga of fury and defiance captured the essence of a turbulent era where Comancheria's unyielding spirit clashed with Texas's insatiable hunger for land, forging a legacy that reverberated through the mid-19th century and beyond.